I think I've always loved clothing as long as I can remember. I have very strong memories in clothing, like remembering when I got my first platform shoes, and it's always been the thing I love the most. My name is Saskia and I'm half Italian and half Swedish. I think my passion for fashion comes from my Italian side. My mother and my grandmother, we have all been always sewing. It's always been important for us to express ourselves through clothing. The more I sew, the more I figure out that I actually want to create almost all the clothing that I want to wear. There's no clothing that can mirror the things that I want to express as much as the things that I can make myself. It was when I was starting to sew my own things and trying to sell them that I understood that that wasn't possible because people didn't want to buy my things because it was so expensive compared to all the really cheap clothing we can access right now. I think it's a huge issue with the overconsumption we have in the world, and I really, really love clothing. So it's been very like a torn part of me that I can't enjoy my love for clothing because of the environmental backside of it. And that's when I invented the Clothing Club. This is not a new concept, it's important to say. It exists in other parts of the world. The Clothing Club is a curated collection of clothing, and you become a member by coming here and choosing how much clothing you would like to have at home at the same time. One way I see it as a library because the clothing does not disappear. If you buy something secondhand, you still might only wear it twice a year, and then the rest of the time it lays in your wardrobe. So here a dress is maybe used 4 times in a month by someone, and then they hand it back, and then someone else is going to use it 4 times because they only have that for a month. And I think that's the big difference between the secondhand store and the Clothing Club. Most of the clothing in the club comes from donations from people. We are sharing things. It's called a club because the community is so important, and it has also become a very body positive thing because there's no changing rooms in the Clothing Club. This is a safe space, and you should feel safe to undress if you want, and undress in front of people and become less aware of your body and more aware of the style you want to express. I didn't think in gender when I started curating the clothing. Maybe you're a man, for example, and you don't feel like you have ever gotten the opportunity to wear a dress, and you maybe don't want to buy it because that feels like a really big step. If you're a member of this club, you could just borrow a dress home and then try it out and see how it feels. The Clothing Club is not my main source of income. It's still non-profit. It can sustain itself. I think it's important that doing good things for the world is also you should be paid for it. It shouldn't have to be something you do on the side and then burn out. I think it will be worth it in the end if I can prove that this can be economically sustainable and still do something good. That's my dream.